day 58, and we're leaving the old town after having had a nice catch up with our girls, but that means we're driving and cycling into the heat of the day.
We're cycling across the Stari Grad plain this morning, and we're straight onto gravel. But this place is a UNESCO heritage site because the entire island was subdivided by the Greeks into stadium-size parcels where they've cultivated, and they still cultivate, a whole variety of crops.
Cycling through the little village of Rabosa, heading along the island. Here's our idyllic little breakfast spot next to the water in the shade of the pine trees.
We've only gone about 8 k's, but such a good reason to stop, and so pretty. Now we are seriously considering, do we stop and go swimming in this idyllic situation here? How inviting is that? Construction has to happen even in paradise. Trying to figure out if we can get around that. We've arrived at the beautiful village of Jelsa. More yachts, more luxury villas. But we'll just keep on moving.
This beautiful town on the coast, lots of tourism, but you see evidence that it's a working village as well. There's fishing nets up to dry.
Athel's looking very well rested and cool because we've just been swimming in there, and we'd probably rather stay in there than cycle off our 300-meter high route this morning.
A big advantage of big climbs is you get big views. We've just been winding our way up this hill and almost at the top. These guys are doing the downhill bit, which sounds like fun.
So we're nearly at the ferry, and we're looking out over a beautiful view of Kotor, which is a very well-known island. We made it just in time for the ferry to Dubrovnik, and we came down off the mountains, not those mountains.
We're just on our last ferry ride in Croatia.
We've come from Hvar Island, which is lovely, and now we are right underneath those massive mountains that we so love along the Croatian coast.
And just 15 kilometers to our place of accommodation tonight.
And aircon.
How's this for a bit of a precarious bike path along the edge of the cliff here? Oh, it's beautiful. And it's another beautiful day for the beach in Croatia, and everyone's at the beach soaking up the sun.
We've arrived at Zastrog, where we're staying tonight. And look, it's a Dalmatian from Dalmatia, and it even looks spotted like the lovely big mountain. Athel's taking out the trash on our morning of the 59th day of cycling. And we're leaving our accommodation and hopefully going over the mountains today.
The islands are slowly waking up as the sun comes up, but we are leaving the islands behind as we head into the interior towards Mostar. Fortunately, we don't have to go over those mountains behind us because there's a river that goes up to Mostar, and we'll just follow that.
We're cycling down towards Bosnia, our first new country of this trip actually, so that's very exciting. And these are the 6 lakes of Bacina, and they're at the end of the Neretva River, which is the river in Mostar. Bosnia, which is where we're going today.
This intersection is where we leave the Eurovela 8.
Ah, exciting!
You can't actually see that we have because there's no signage, but now we head inland to Mostar along the river. This river is going to take us all the way up. Okay, and now we head into uncharted territory because this isn't even a national road, and there are dangerous pigs along this road. Wild boar. It's a sweet little village along the railway line with all the little traditional cottages up against the mountainside and all looking out over the river. And just like that, we're in Bosnia Herzegovina. That was a very small little border post, very efficient. I almost didn't get stamped into the country because I missed that I had to do both stamps.
Well, this is perfection. We found a lovely spot for morning tea and even chairs down by the river. There's an old boarded up house, and look at this magnificent section of river. Welcome to Bosnia. There's Ethel paying homage to the night of Capulgina. We are now in Bosnia Herzegovina, which is very exciting, and there's the flag to prove it.
Riding along the Stari Rail Trail, and there's a new motorway up above and the railway next to, and we just punched through a little tunnel in between.
Well, Ethel has committed to swimming in the Neretva River, but I'll just point out that we're no longer in the Adriatic, and this water could be coming from mountains somewhere. So watch this space. He's in!
Woo, that's chilly.
It's chilly for him. The next range of mountains, nice big ones, leading into Mostar.
So to see the bullet holes in the side of the buildings, leftovers from the war. There's a few places that are still in ruins, but you can see it's mostly rebuilding. There's the historic bridge in Mostar, and there's a bridge jumping competition happening where guys are diving off that bridge into the water. Is he going to jump? Hey. Trying to build up the courage. Here you go. And there's a dude up there chatting to everyone, just bouncing on the edge of the bridge. I don't know if he's gonna dive, but he's standing precariously close to the edge.
And that's how you do it. So this is the reward when you cycle through absolute heat into a city.
Ice cream, a whole tub of ice cream for lunch. I've almost finished my tub of ice cream.
Did we think Ethel could do it? Yay, he has. Hungry boy.
It's the 1 litre challenge.
Walking into Old Town Mostar, enjoying the view of the river. And there's the memorial on the hill where the sniping came from.
Mostar Old Town, and we're heading to the bridge, which is world famous, and everyone's on the bridge waiting for someone to jump off into the water. You have to have nerves of steel to jump off from there way down into that water. It's a long way down. I don't think I could jump off this. Gail's decided she's going to do a bridge jump from up here.
Yeah, except that we're doing it tomorrow morning, and unfortunately our train to Sarajevo is too early, so I'll have to leave it for next year. Following Ethel through the old city. I'm feeling pretty hungry, folks. I might share some of it with Ethel. Well, we're on our way to Sarajevo for the day and an overnight. We're in Mostar station. We've just walked across the tracks to get to the right side.
We're heading for Sarajevo.
We've arrived in Sarajevo and Ethel's enjoyed all the public transport aspects of it. The bus, the tram, and there's the train station that we've just come from. Are you happy?
You see evidence of the conflict in the pock marks on the front of this building, which is right next to the waterfront here in Sarajevo. Some of the holes have been patched, but there's still massive scars from the siege of Sarajevo. You have the massive contrast between the pockmarked apartments and then the modern building that's built after the war happened. This is the bridge where the Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated, and that precipitated the First World War. It's called the Latin Bridge, but after the assassination the locals called it, renamed it after the assassin, because they were so against the Habsburgs and they were happy that the Archduke had been assassinated.
We're in the main square of Sarajevo, where the pigeons hang out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we're on the cable car up Dubrovnik, which is a mountain in Sarajevo, and we're going up to see the 1984 Sarajevo Olympic Village. Looking down on the haystacks from the cable car up Mount Dubrovnik. It's quite beautiful. So we reckon that's for the skeleton, that really scary downhill one-person race. And here's a team bobsled track that we're going down. I'm hoping we can turn it into a bob bed track somewhere because we are really tired.
If Gail had a skateboard here, she'd go whizzing down this. After our 5 a.m. start, and with the heat of the day, we decided to just collapse on the path at the bobsled track. Rather ungraceful, but actually surprisingly comfortable.
There's an unfinished viewing platform, viewing center up here, and amazing, amazing views. From where we are here at the cable car, it's still quite a way up to the summit, so we're glad we didn't walk it.
Those buildings over there would have been used by the besiegers, with probably the snipers targeting people going past the city.
There's Sarajevo set out in front of us, and the old ruined palace out there, and then the fort that was used against Ottomans, but it's too far to walk to. Awesome looking pizza for dinner. There's a bit of a story behind it as well, in that we didn't have any money to pay for it, so we were a bit sad, and then we got given change for our accommodation and it was just enough. So now,
so this over here is a resin flower which marks where a mortar bomb hit the ground, but now the street has been rebuilt and there's very little sign of the war anymore.
we're at the main mosque of Sarajevo, the Gazi Husrev Beg Mosque. Beautiful, that Arabic writing so artistic.
All the pigeons are going crazy over there. Even here, in amongst the modern looking buildings, you can see the mortar splash from the conflict. This is really a special thing. It's a Jewish prayer book from the 1300s. It's so beautifully illustrated. This is a recreation of a court and all the outfits worn by the different cultures, Christian, Muslim and Jewish, that coexisted in Bosnia. We've really enjoyed our visit to this beautiful museum and learned a lot about the history of the region. There's a monument to a Tito in the university grounds, and in the background you can see on the walls are all the bullet holes from the Civil War. Traveling through the gorge, it's really difficult to get the photos of how impressive it is, because one minute we're there, next minute we're in a tunnel. Leaving Mostar at 5:30 in the morning to try and beat the heat, and we start the Ciro Rail Trail.
Very exciting, going to a whirling dervish monastery this morning. We've left our bicycles under the tree down there, and we are off to explore the fortress of Stefan, which is just peeking out up there where Athel's on his way towards. A 10th century medieval fortress. The weary knight is off his faithful steed and on his way up the hill towards the fortress. March. Approaching St. Stephen's fortress. We hope we'll be let in without cannonballs. We're entering the castle keep. Will they welcome us in? Yes, there we go. He's still standing. No one's put an arrow in him. That's good. Very impressive fortress. You feel pretty safe in here. Look, it's massive and very well preserved from the 10th century. That is a long time. Surveying the lands. Down to the river Neretva, across to the subjects strewn across the plains. Looking back to Mostar and across the villages down to Blagaj. We're at the Blagaj fortress at the moment.
We've enjoyed our visit up here at the castle. It is so spectacular, with incredible views out over the valleys towards Mostar. This spring is the most prolific in Europe, pumping out a huge amount of water to the shortest river in Bosnia Herzegovina. So here the Buna River joins onto the Neretva River in an amazing little gorge, like a race, and waterfalls all the way along. It's really pretty. And we follow on down the Neretva River into that canyon along the Stari Trail. Exciting stuff.
We love the natural beauty of Bosnia Herzegovina.
With the heat, there's lots of snakes and lizards around. Gail's feeling greedy this morning. This was her idea as we're cycling in the heat. She says, I want some cake this morning.
It's magnificent. This shop is magnificent.
And yeah, we were giving up hope because everything is closed because it's a Sunday. But then suddenly we found a cake shop.
So we thought we were in Bosnia Herzegovina, but we're actually in heaven. We've just been in heaven for the last 15 minutes. Delicious cake.
Yeah, we're on the narrow gauge railway now and into the gravel section. There's an old granite quarry. It looks like it's a kitchen bench right in the middle of nowhere with a sofa. This road is a little bit rough, but that's what we expected.
Yep. We really need a tunnel to stay out of the sun in. The views are stunning. The lake is calling me. The gravel is challenging.
From out of the sun into the shade of a lovely, long, cool tunnel. You can hear the bats chattering away because they're not happy with us coming and resting their daytime sleep. There they are, all up above us, so many. It is so incredibly hot out there. So it's so lovely coming into these tunnels. We've got 10 of them to go through today, which is perfect because today it's a 35-degree day. So lots of cool tunnels for us. A really rough trail, which is so rough it's difficult to ride. There are a couple of rotten planks on there, which made for some interesting going, but it's quite spectacular. It would be great if there was some water in that creek, because I'd walk down and have a swim, but no luck.
We're so enjoying our rest in the cooling breeze of the tunnel, but we would not be doing this back in the 1880s when the Austro-Hungarians put all these tunnels through the mountain. There would be something coming towards us pretty soon in here.
Beautiful view, but this is a bit of a landslide. Glad there's enough space for us to get through on the trail.
So we've just come out onto this cutting and seen a magnificent view of what looks like the volcanic dikes, the rock formations that we're going through, and the beautiful lake in the background. Just amazing, but still hot. Hooray! Is that it?
No, there's still some more, but I think we'll do the tar section now. There's the still station infrastructure with quite a formidable defensive structure which looks relatively new. But now we're tired and we don't want to go on gravel anymore.
So Ethel, the previous video we were celebrating because we were finished with the gravel and we were going onto the tar. What happened?
I think our celebration was a bit premature. We've still got a couple of more kilometers of gravel, and this is hard going, really hard going.
It's good to hear him say that because I'm always the one saying that on gravel.
In the little village of Kotor, we found a little Bosnian angel, Herzegovina hero, who had his bar open, and there was no one in there. He was just watching a movie, and he had cold cokes, and so we bought some cold cokes, and then he supplied us with 2 big glasses of water
and saved us
because he could see we were parched. We got 9 kilometers to go. After a crazy day of cycling, we decided we had to splash out and eat out because we're exhausted. And today's another long day, but thankfully not as hard because there's no gravel.
Well, Gail has said no to the gravel. There's gravel, but I said no.
Heading out from Ravno this morning, past the lovely historic hotel that we stayed in. It's going to be another 100 or so K a day, going down past Dubrovnik and heading to the coast into Montenegro.
And heading towards Montenegro, but we've loved Bosnia and Herzegovina. It's been really special.
That was lovely. An early start, but not a sunrise start, means that we are riding in the sun, but still have incredible views out over the river valleys and the agricultural areas. We feel rested.
That's pretty cool. Handy little bicycle stop areas. You can check your tire pressure and pump up your wheel. Is yours good, Ethel? There we go, showing us how it's done.
Tire pressure thing doesn't work.
Oh, it doesn't work. Okay, scrap that.
Hello, Mr. Tortoise. You need to keep off the road because people driving don't see tortoises. That's the way. Get off the road. That's the way.
We'll be seeing more and more of the Cyrillic writing as we go. Athol is collecting communist era monuments with the stars on them. So, coffee table book coming up maybe, but I just thought this was a rather pretty area that we're in.
Here's an old Soviet era monument in an old town which is just a ghost town now, which used to be a station along the Stari Grad Trail. Still along the same rail trail, but it's rather wild over here because the river hasn't been canalized.
Do we go to Trepin and get to Montenegro via staying in Bosnia, or do we head to the coast and go via Dubrovnik? So hard to know what to do, and we're just hoping the traffic won't get us going back into Croatia. But yes, we're heading right towards Dubrovnik. You can hear the wind, and we're loving the wind, even though it's pushing us back. But even more, we're loving the clouds. Cloud cover is what we live for on this thing. Beautiful mountains, and we're going uphill now on our way to the Croatian coast, the Croatian border.
We're heading off the mountains down to the beach. It looks quite idyllic out there. Much better than the riding that we've been having with traffic right next to us, but at least we can stop every now and again and appreciate the beautiful view. This section, the danger is tortoises. When we were at the top of the hill, we lost where the trail went and we went down the wrong road, which was actually good, but that is where the rail trail goes. You can see it, the cut going through on the mountainside, goes down and then it turns and goes back down the other way and connects onto the road we're on at the moment.
So he gets to have the experience without having the pain of the gravel. I think it's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
Athol has discovered a natural stream coming out of the rocks in the cliffs above us to the side. All right, in he goes. Is it cold? Okay, I think he said it was very cold. Will he even manage? That is the question.
Oh, that's good.
He's happy.
And down we go to the border post.
The playground of the rich and famous. This is Herzegovina. We're in Crna, which is Black Mountain, Montenegro.
Montenegro, hello.
I'm standing on the bridge at Herzegovina Old Town, looking back out towards the bay. Time to go into the castle.
And we're ending our day with the railway tunnel after all. Just before our campsite, which is cool. It's the 62nd day of cycling and we're leaving our campsite for a very short day and then we're going to have a rest.
We're having a great time cycling along the shoreline of this beautiful area of Montenegro, and so lovely to have those clouds there. That makes all the difference to us. There's Herzegovina in the corner, and now I need to catch up with Athol far ahead somewhere there. I'm just loving this very choppy Adriatic. We have not seen it in this mood before, and it's just lovely and restless. Oh my goodness, a dolphin. Oh, okay, it's not real, or it's just got really strong abs. What I do need to find though is Athol. He's racing somewhere for some reason.
Gail had a burek for breakfast and she's having another burek for morning tea.
This is the line.
And the mountains in the distance are looking very impressive. We're going to be hiking one of those, I believe. We thought we were done with ferries,
But we found a magical one that will actually take about 20 kilometers off our ride today, and a lot of horrible traffic.
And it's free.
And it's free. We are leaving on the ferry and going across the Bay of Kotor towards Tivat. Now the main city of Kotor you can see in the distance there, and we'll go visiting by bike tomorrow.
The roads here are very narrow and it doesn't leave much space for any error. So traffic is going ridiculously slow. This little channel between the two headlands is such a narrow little entry, and there's a beautiful little chapel on an island, which I assume is dedicated to sailors.
So having entered the Bay of Kotor, there's the famous town of Perast. All the rain's starting again. And then Perast opens up the bay to all the other towns along the way. Don't feel too worried about us because we're sitting in paradise today on the shores of the Kotor Bay and just resting, completely resting. So life is good. We're walking back to our campsite after having an afternoon on the water, and it's time to go back and see if the sea breezes have reached our campsite.